Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the channel for today's video. What up, y'all? So today I wanted to talk to you about 10 truths about the narcissist. So let's jump in. The narcissist, their approach towards love is a condition that's completely different than the one that we have. We go into a love situation or a love partner situation. We want to get to know somebody. We want to know their history about them so we can be more connected to them, so that we can understand maybe the way they do things and why maybe they think the way they do. We don't expect people to be flawless. We know that we have flaws, so we can self-reflect, and the narcissist doesn't have the ability to self-reflect. They're always, like I said, they're always running out here. It's like they're running away from themselves. I mean, literally, even their spirit is really pretty much the mask now. So it's like right in front of it's like almost outside their body. That's my point. Their spirit is almost outside their body. It's disconnected from, it's like their soul has been disconnected from the spirit. So it's kind of like they're half there. And that's why a lot of times when you look into their eyes and things like that, it's almost like they're deadened because there's something missing. And there's something that's occupied what has in the vacuum. So when it comes to love, they don't have the ability to love. They have the no empathy thing going on where their frontal lobes have been kind of turned off when you look at MRIs and PETs. And they don't have any of the fruits of the spirit. So love to them is kind of like a situation, or they look at you as an object or an extension of them. They're an extension of the enemy. So when they engage with people, or when you engage with people, you want to get to know them so that you can support them, so that you can be a good partner to them, so that you guys can be a good team. And if they fall off, you pick them up. If you fall off, they pick you up. So it's a good supportive team, and you want to be with somebody that is like-minded, equally yoked. But the narcissist, they don't look at it like that. In a relationship, if they tell you they love you, they mean they love the way that you admire them. And that's about it. They want to go into the relationship, and you want to go into a relationship thinking when you meet an individual that you want to get to know, if it's a love partner, do I love you? Or could I love you? Or are you the type that I'm looking for? Do I enjoy myself around you? And do you represent kind of what I represent? When it comes to friendships, there's certain similarities, but it's not as in depth because you're not going to be so much of being with them like that. But still, the narcissist looks at them kind of like, are you going to be a friend or a lover? And then they just break it down on what form of supply can you be to me? That's basically it. What kind of needs do I have that you can fill? And that's it. They don't think about what they can do for the other individual to help them, to accentuate them as well, to back them up. It's like they want independence, but they're the complete codependent. And they try to project that out, that they're an independent individual and very powerful and strong, but they're not at all. They're like little babies in adult bodies. And when it comes to support, they want to know that people have their back, but they have nobody's back. And they never give reciprocity. They know fully well what they're doing. They just want to be admired. That's the only thing that really matters, is just affirming to them that they're an awesome individual. So truth number 2, they are not interested in problem solving. So when it comes to situations with the narcissist, and if you're in a partner relationship with them, there's going to be issues that arise, and you want to deal with these issues. But when a situation arises, they're never wrong. They could never address where they are wrong. Nobody else could be right. And a lot of times when you're in a love partner relationship, you want to be equally yoked. So you want to meet in the middle where you can. If you have an issue, well, let's sit down and discuss it. Let's come to some kind of understanding and find some middle ground. Instead, they're interested in finding advantages. There's not a problem that they created. It's like you created it, and there is no vulnerability with them. And because there's no vulnerability with them, they can't address anything. It's going to be somehow where it's your fault. And that's just the way it's going to be. They're going to feel like if you address anything that they're doing that's not just or correct, then it's going to be somehow that you're unjust in the way that you're handling it. It's not like that at all. Usually they'll just give you silent treatment or rage, and then give you time and then come back like it never happened. Number 3, as narcissists are, they will ask a bunch of personal questions about you. They want to know your history. They want to know about you. They want to know the way you are and your thinking, your character, your integrity, also your flaws. They want to know things about your history that make you feel weak or make you, or where you have regrets in life. They want to know all of these things. These are big jewels to them. And it's jewels because they are always sizing you up because you're always in competition with the narcissist, even if you're a love partner. There is never a cohabitation here. There's never a team. There's never an us. It's always a them, a me attitude. So they're always preemptively sizing you up. And that's the only reason why they get questions from you. Other than that, they probably care less about anything about you. They're going to act like real remorseful and things and have pity for you if you go through, tell them stories, maybe you regret or something that's been tough in your life. You had a hard time dealing with it, and maybe you're still dealing with it. But then whenever you get in an argument, they will bring things up and say that you're defective. And I knew ever since you told me that story, there was something wrong with you. So they use these as ammunition against you. What somebody said one time when I went to counseling was, she's like, so she goes straight for the jugular. And I was like, yes, that's what mine would do. Whenever you get in a small situation or argument, or it's not even an argument, it doesn't need to be. Usually the narcissist turns it into one because they don't want to talk about it. They want to create confusion and then run away. But, you want to discuss things so you can have a better life with this individual, and then they attack you and they go for the jugular, meaning the most degrading thing. They hit you below the knees. They're perfect. They're superior. They got to always seem superior. They got to always have control and power over you and belittle you. It's just, in the case with them, they give you very little. They breadcrumb you in every category of their life, and most of the time it's a lie. They do this because if they tell you a bunch of lies about their history, and then if somebody went hard on them and tried to address that, they would just say, well, that was not even true. Or they wouldn't let it bother them because they know they lied to you about it. So it's not really them. So number 4, you're not the only person who's been manipulated. The narcissist is going to manipulate you every day. They're master manipulators. If you're married to them, it's the way they handle things. They're going to be rotten towards you. They're going to be terrible towards you. They're going to condemn you. They're condemners, nitpickers, and they're people that poke at you. They kind of chip away at everything good in your life. You're the one that's vulnerable, and they have no vulnerability. You just want to solve the situation. It's just they manipulate everything so that they have the upper hand on you. They'll be rotten towards you, but then when they go outside the house, any of their friends or anybody where they put the mask on, they're going to be beautiful towards them. And so when they're running smear campaigns on you, doing negative things behind your back and cheating on you and lying, they're the worst person in the world when it comes to moral integrity and character. They're the brevity of society in this world. It's like you want to accept flaws and you want to accept all their good points as well and put it all together and know you can love somebody and they're not perfect. Well, they have to be perfect and you have to be perfect too. And if anything's wrong, it's got to be your fault. They never validate you. They very rarely will validate anything in your life. And even if you don't need validation, you still want a cheerleader. You're supposed to be their cheerleader, and you want somebody to stoke your fire too. I want you to add fuel to my fire when I'm doing something good or when I have a vision. I want you to back me up and be behind me and affirm me. And I'm going to do the same for you, but they don't do that. They want all the affirmations. They want to be affirmed. They want to be validated. And even if you don't need validation, there's times where it's deserving. So it's like if you were to work and build them something that took you 12 hours and you did it for free and you actually bought all the supplies and did it, and then you get no validation about that, like that's like insincere. That's somebody who has no empathy. I mean, you should at least be like get something like, oh, I think you did a great job, or I appreciate you taking that time. They don't care. They only care if they may tell you that just because they're getting something out of it, and something for free because they are cheap and they are lazy. Number 6, they tend to keep a lot of secrets. Evil people are always lying, cheating, stealing, and getting over on you and manipulating. Because of that, they hide everything and they're not vulnerable. So you don't know anything about their history, nothing about their current affairs, and nothing about their future. And if they do tell you about the future with you and them, it's going to be a future fake. And all of their history, their childhood history, and all of the stories they told you, 90% of it is some other people's story that they molded for themselves to build a fake narrative of the fantasy that they want to be looked at and represented as. And they just change it. It can change every day. They just add and take away to it to make it better, more glorious, whatever they're looking for in their standard of living. and whatever it takes to use the mask to take down supply. So they'll form it for that supply to be the best fit, the most glorious individual that would fit that individual's personality. And then they mirror back to you who you are and add all of these things on what they are and all their grandiosities. And then you think that they're flawless. And that's how you end up treating them, because that's how they train you to be. They brainwash you. So they keep a lot of secrets, and it's like, it's not just on their history or their current affairs, but they're also lying, cheating on you and getting over on you. And they have thoughts that are evil against you. They hate you. And so they're always thinking about when they're going to leave and how they're going to take you down and what they're going to steal from you and how they're going to dupe you, meaning cheat on you, get over on it, get adrenaline from it, and smirk and laugh and tell some close people just the same how they're getting over on you. And they can get you back whenever they want. They kind of make it out like you're some kind of scrub when you're actually the heart, and try to be respectful about everything and be what humanity should be taught to be. But that doesn't work with the narcissist. You got to walk away. They're exploitative, they're manipulative, and they craft an image that doesn't necessarily match reality. And the deeper that you go into their history, you will find in the background that it's very, very delusional. Very delusional. This person, you don't know them at all, y'all. Number 7, narcissists genuinely do not understand how they come across. You typically know a person fairly well, but the narcissists, they do not have a good, genuine understanding of how they come across because they don't have the fruits of the spirit. So you're missing a lot of tools. They are oppressed and possessed. And so they come to oppress and possess you, to make you an object in the arm of the enemy's body. They're an arm of the enemy, Satan, and you're going to be an arm of them. So you're going to be an extension of them, right? You can't think, you just do what you're told. That's how you become an arm. You have no autonomy. You know a person particularly, you know their flaws, and you know their good deeds and the things that they're strong at, things they're good at, the things they're well known for. Well, when it comes to the narcissist, they don't have anything good in them. So there's nothing good there. Their self-awareness is at a very, very low level, if that. Whenever you address things with them, they come off inappropriately in most cases. And when they do, it could be shocking to some people, especially people if they don't know them. They could come off really with inappropriate stuff that is offensive, and they can come off with inappropriate stuff that actually makes them seem like an idiot. So it's like, it tends to be something in relation to stuff like that. When they're inappropriate about things, it's almost like because they don't care. They only care about themselves because they have no fruits of the spirit, no love, no kindness, no joy, no peace. Nothing good. It's always selfishness for them to get all their needs met by any means necessary. And they don't give a damn who they got to throw under the bus or who they got to step on to get there, literally. And so whenever you point out their inappropriateness and you shouldn't have, maybe been like that, it's kind of like a point of correctness, something to like constructive criticism, or something that's really blatantly horrible and you need to address it because they're attached to you. They represent you and you represent them when you're in a relationship. Well, then they get really offended, and that's not what I meant. You're taking it the wrong way, and it's not true. That's not what happened. Basically, the way that you look at things, the awareness that you have, and the way that you understand things is not at all necessarily at the pitch or at the level or at the vibration or the understanding of how they view things. And a lot of times they're trying to get over on you. So based on that, we could be that way too if we wanted to, but it would be crushing. We wouldn't want to live like that. Number 8, they tend to live with lots of double standards. They have all these walls up protecting them because they can't be vulnerable. So they tell you almost nothing. And if they tell you something, it's going to be a lie. But when it comes to you, they want you to pour your heart out. And generally speaking, you do, especially when you're unawoke and unaware of who they are. Then they use tactics against you, your vulnerabilities. They get to know you, your mannerisms and everything. They read all of the somatic, minute details about how you move, how you operate, what you sound like, and when you're upset, when you're not, and they know how to trigger you and have these double standards, so they cannot be criticized at all. But when it comes to you, they can criticize you any which way they want. They can hit you below the knees, they can hit you from the left to right, they can uppercut you, they can kick you down and stomp on you. But when it comes to them, you can't even address something very simple. They will usually criticize you and even get to a place where they will sometimes rage in situations if you keep pushing it. They're always the one with the power and the control. And so the number one thing that they control, and you get into a marriage with them, they're going to get a hold of the money. They're going to tell you how you spent too much money somewhere. And they are like looking at every nickel and every dime. But when it comes to them spending money, they're the most frivolous person in the world. And when you try to address it, it's not like that at all. They'll criticize you And they had a good reason to do that. It's just the way that they acknowledge you, or the lack of acknowledgement, the way, as far as the issues that you have that you try to address, and all of the double standards that they have in life. Like, the way you treated that person was awful, but then they're over there yelling at somebody about something that really is their fault. And you're like, what? And you can't address it. So at some point in time, the empath usually just shuts up. If you're unawoke and unaware and you're trying to just get by, eventually over years and years of this, you're just going to shut up. And then you're going to become a hollow, soulless person. You'll be empty inside, but the only thing that you can do is just sit there. Because if you say anything or do anything, it's going to be an argument. They're going to devalue, destroy, and degrade you. So you just sit there, and then they will actually try to get you to engage in some other confusing matter. If they could talk to themselves, they would fight amongst themselves. Number 9, their condescension is compensation for their inadequacy. A lot of times they are condescending about things that you do, and the way they talk down to you. It's really the ways to reveal the shallowness and their way of thinking, because this is how they really are projecting onto you what they are. They're compensating for their inadequacy by condemning you. And that's how they are condescending to you. They come up short because they don't have the fruits of the Spirit, and they don't treat people right. They don't give a damn. If they were to actually be self-aware and have a conscience, see, they sear their conscience. And that's what happens when you lose love. You sear your conscience. Because your conscience is what gets you to repent, apologize, to change. And this is where they have a huge struggle, this inadequacy. So instead of going inside and finding out how they can have more worth, they like to just push it on you. You're the failure. You're the one that needs help. You're a piece of crap, and you do everything wrong. And they'll belittle you, and they'll talk down to you. You'll feel like they're your parent at some point. And number 10, the narcissist likes to start arguments with you because they get a power surge from it. So a lot of times they will get into arguments with you, and it's all their fault, or it's nobody's fault, and they created this facade of something that's maybe not even true. But they will start arguments with you all the time, and then it'll just be because they want you to submit to them. But they want to get your fuel. So if you won't react, you guys get into some kind of argument over something. It could be something small, and it'll turn out much greater, because there's a lot of other things that are under the carpet at this point, and you keep pushing them under the carpet because they don't want to deal with it. It's not that you don't want to deal with it, but they don't. So you're forced to not being able to deal with it as well. This stuff builds up, and you're just, and you're the one that's getting the brunt of all the negative attacks, when it's really them. It's almost 100% them. Where you go wrong, you stay in it, and you shouldn't. And you people please, and you shouldn't. But it is what it is. And it's till you wake up from that spell. But that's the way you were groomed. That's the way you were brought up. So, and that's not something that you would be like that with everybody. It's just with these narcissist types. They draw you in, they drag you in, and you're susceptible to it with the narcissist. But you can have a regular relationship with somebody even before you met the narcissist. You would be fine with them. They do it just to get a power surge. They just want to be superior. It gives them adrenaline. It gives them power over you to make them feel superior. So they'll start these arguments, and then they'll feel like they are all powerful because they beat you down and damaged you and destroyed you in some argument you guys had when it was crazy. It's crazy. They're like in a mythological fantasy and a place where there is no vulnerability, and they're just this princess or this queen or king or whoever you're dealing with. And they're very grandiose. They have no accountability. They have no honesty. And you're going to be the one that's sorely disappointed by the end of this relationship. And you're going to be broke down. You're going to be damaged. And it's going to be because you went into covenant with this individual. And they are not worth engaging with. You just want to disengage with them. Trying to understand them is completely worthless when it comes to being in a relationship with them. You can understand the pathology, but that's even pretty tricky. The best thing you can do is just be away from them, because they're always going to want the upper hand. They're going to be the wolf in sheep's clothing, and you're always going to be the one sleeping with the enemy, and they're always out to damage and destroy you, put you down by any means necessary. They don't even care if you end up 6 feet underground. But if you could give me a like, a subscription, a thumbs up. This is the way it is. These are the 10 things, the 10 truths about the narcissist that they don't want you to know. And they would deny them all. Thank you for watching. And
Till next time, soldier, peace, we out.